To those who have struggled with them, the mountains reveal beauties that they will not disclose to those who make no effort. That is the reward mountains give to effort. And it is because they have so much to give, and give it so lavishly to those who will wrestle with them, that men love the mountains and go back to them again and again. The mountains reserve their choice gifts for those who stand upon their summits. Sir Francis Younghusband. This is the story of one man's vision and relentless passion to start a ski area. In the winter of 1960, the Steamboat Ski Area first opened for business with a pommel lift and several miles of smooth ski runs to the top of Bear Claw. This was the beginning of what would become one of North America's top ski resorts. The new ski area was next to a small western town, deeply rooted in ranching. The town was Steamboat Springs, and it would never be the same. Jim Temple grew up on the Focus Ranch, 50 miles north of Steamboat Springs, Colorado. The ranch was a working cattle, hay, and dude ranch located on the Little Snake River. Jim spent his days irrigating vast hay meadows. Through the years, he would see the loose hay put up with teams of horses, later to be replaced with tractors. And finally, the tons and tons of hay were baled. Over 1,000 tons to be exact. Working hard on the ranch was always followed by playing hard. Jim designed, and with the help of the members of the Little Snake Club, built a rodeo arena on the ranch. Cowboys would travel from hundreds of miles to go to the Little Snake Rodeo. Where the events included saddle bronc, bareback, and calf roping. Even though he grew up on a remote Colorado ranch, Jim started skiing at age 2 on skis handmade by his father. The steep slope, right behind the main ranch house, often found Jim hiking up and skiing down. During the long Colorado winters, daily chores included feeding the cattle hay from a horse-drawn sleigh. Jim and his family would travel to Steamboat for the winter carnival every winter.
We used to come from the ranch to the Steamboat to the ski carnival every winter, and ranchers came from all over the county and pulled the skiers down Main Street with their horses.
There were competitive ski events of all kinds at the Steamboat Springs Winter Carnival. There was the obstacle course on skis, and chariot races where the ranchers would hitch up their fastest horses and race each other. Even the marching band was on skis. Steamboat was already well known as Ski Town, USA. Jim Temple had skiing in his blood. Beginning in 1948, Jim spent the next 7 winters in Sun Valley working on the ski patrol. Once again, working hard was followed by playing hard. Sun Valley hosted world-class ski competitions, and Jim was always there to watch and often filmed the races. Competitors included Buddy Werner in the Harriman Cup Slalom, and Hans Nogler in the Harriman Cup Downhill. While on the ski patrol, Jim was an avalanche forecaster. Jim's training included avalanche school in Alta, Utah, under Monty Atwater and Ed LaChapelle. He would often set off huge slides. In those days, it was not uncommon for Jim to carry 50 pounds of dynamite on his back. The years of experience at Sun Valley with mountain manager Nelson Bennett and at Alta with men like Atwater and LaChapelle would prove invaluable to Jim later on. By now, Jim had accumulated nearly 10 years of big mountain experience with some of the best of the day. Beginning in 1955, Jim made the first of what would be many trips to the top of Storm Mountain. In the summers, he hiked to the top or drove jeeps or rode horses to the summit. He made many trips on cross-country skis. The most exciting trips were via snowcat. These trips were put together by Jim and included many members of the Winter Sports Club. He organized snowcat trips over the top of the mountain. Every trip was a real adventure.
And the thing I remember most about that trip, that he was taking snow measurements all along the top of the divide, all along the park range there. His snow probe was 12 feet long, and the only time it wasn't long enough, it was short of 12 foot. Well, it was 11 feet deep.
Even late in the spring, the snow on top of Storm Mountain was very deep. Jim organized several trips from Rabbit Ears Pass to the top of Storm Mountain. The snowcats were driven by Marvin Elkins, Lloyd McClelland, and Bill Schomers. Skiers on these trips included Ed and Loris Werner, Gates and Butch Gooding, John Elliott, Chuck Lyon, Bill Lake, Orville Bedell, Auburn Lukens, Russ Whitmer, Pat and Jack McElroy, John Fetcher, Ty and Lloyd Lockhart, Harry Baum, and Marvin Crawford. In the years that followed, it became obvious to Jim that Storm Mountain could be a tremendous ski area.
In 1956, on one of the snowcat trips over the mountain with Winter Sports Club skiers, skiing down, I looked across from one bald spot as they skied down on the other one, and it was so beautiful, I thought right then, I have to start this ski area.
In the years that followed, it quickly became obvious to Jim that Storm Mountain had some very special possibilities. All of the early members of the Snowcat trips were in agreement that the skiing on Storm Mountain was incredible. On March 30th, 1958, Jim hiked on the crust carrying skis to the top of Storm Mountain with Bud and Loris Werner and John Elliott. It was magical to watch the Olympic skiers work their way through the trees and down Storm Mountain. The powder snow was as light as a feather.
I'll never forget Joe McElroy. He said that snow tickles his nose like champagne, and the phrase was born, champagne powder.
Owning the land at the base of the mountain was essential to start the ski area. Jim began to buy key ranches at the location of the future base area. The first ranch purchased was the most critical. It consisted of 100 acres, owned by Ernest Arnold, and included all of the land known as Bear Claw. This private ownership includes several ski lifts and today's trails of Sitz, Simi, Vogue, Headwall, and Voodoo.
So I've met many times with Ernie Arnold to try and buy the property, and he wouldn't sell. And one time Ernie Arnold mentioned to me that he needed a Ford tractor. And I thought about that and said, Ernie, if you would give me an option on your property, I've got just the tractor you need. And he said, how much do you want for it? I had $1,400. And he said, okay. And so I got an option on the property and delivered the tractor by driving it 52 miles from the ranch and delivered it to Ernie. And I paid the full amount of $4,600 for that property, and I owned the ski area in full and outright, and we were both winners.
Over the next few years, Jim purchased over 800 acres of land at the base of the mountain.
I formed the Storm Mountain Ski Corporation in 1958 and brought in Marvin Crawford, Jerry Groswald, Bill Sayer, and John Fetcher.
In the summer of 1958, groundbreaking at Storm Mountain was finally underway.
In the summer of 1958, July 6th, was a big day in my life. It was groundbreaking for this ski area as they knocked down the big tree and a ski area was born, Storm Mountain.
Jess Brenton cleared the trails, and as a D7 operator, he was unrivaled. Over the next 3 summers, the trails to the top of Bear Claw were cut. The trees were knocked down with the D7 Cat, stacked in piles, and burned.
I'm always intrigued when I go back and look at the film on when the mountain was first developed. And what I have come to understand and fully appreciate now more so than ever is the unique and incredible vision that Jim Temple had when he went to create this mountain. Even here in Steamboat today, the next generation of Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club kids, well, where are they racing? Where are they doing the race training? They're doing it on the runs that Jim Temple cut 40 plus years ago. The same runs that were the original runs that made Steamboat are the same runs that those kids, the 4th and 5th generation of Steamboat skiers, Steamboat racers, many of whom will end up racing in World Cups years from now, they're training and they're racing right here at the base of the mountain.
Just like the lifelong rancher he was, Jim disked, harrowed, and meticulously groomed the slopes to create what he would later call the newest and smoothest. These remarkable runs, now 50-year-old beautiful alpine meadow slopes, are as smooth and free of debris as the best hay meadows. While Jim was occupied both day and night developing on Storm Mountain, his wife Audrey was busy making her own contributions to skiing in the valley. Audrey brought together other steamboat mothers and founded the Little Toot Ski Club. 50 years old, this program is still in existence today and has produced many Winter Olympians. The initial ski lift was delivered and installed in the summer of 1960. It was the 2,200-foot-long Palma lift, located roughly where the south face lift sits today. On December 20, 1960, the Stormy Ski Area officially opened for business. Lift tickets were $2.60 for adults and $1.40 for children. Jim Temple's dream to start a ski area had become a reality. That same year, Jim had purchased a Hunziker double chairlift. Installation began in the fall of 1960, but the snow arrived before the lift was complete. For several winters before the chairlift was installed, Jim hauled skiers to the top of Bear Claw by Jeep Caravan. Nationally sanctioned college races were held on Sitz and Simi. Jim was a true visionary in more ways than one.
He envisioned this ski area with the trails and lifts pretty much the way they are now. Well, in the 50s, when you thought about a ski area, you didn't worry about how people got there. You just put up the lifts and wherever there was snow. But Jim showed in that first brochure airplanes flying from major cities in America into Steamboat. And it was far ahead of its time to think about transportation, especially airplanes bringing skiers into a major ski area.
Jim Temple, driven by his passion for skiing, had started one of the top ski areas in North America. And Steamboat Springs, Colorado would never be the same.